Everyone, welcome to today's Program Yourself Thin podcast. Today we're talking about dealing with stress eating. Oh boy, stress eating. It's one of the big ones, right? And for most people, it's a challenge because you have been conditioned your whole life to think when you're stressed, one of the easiest ways to relieve it or deal with it is to eat. And it seems like it works, right? That's why it's so effective. It seems like it works, but does it work? That's the big question. And I want you to really reflect on this. Of course it works, right? Well, does it work really? And what I mean by that is that, yes, if you're stressed and you start eating and you're looking forward to eating and you're eating, right? What happens is you distract yourself, right? So instead of focusing on whatever's stressing you or thinking about whatever's stressing you out, now we're shifting our focus to focusing and thinking about food, right? And so that's one of the first things that happens. And we have to understand that, is that really relaxation? Is that really calm? Or is that just a distraction for a few moments? And that I will leave up to you to decide. All right. But the other side of it is that when when we just distract ourselves, and it does feel good in the moment too. I mean, there is that little piece of it, right? Physiologically, it kind of gets our pleasure centers going. And there is that little momentary piece, that we get when we're eating. But what we really have to look at is the 6 seconds after we're finished eating. That's what we got to start paying attention to, is 6 seconds after you finish the food, whatever it may be. How do you feel then? Are you all relaxed and calm? Are you at peace, grounded, centered? Or are you basically just as stressed? And now you're even more stressed because not only do you have the stress that you started with, but now you got the stress from overeating and the weight and all the rest of it too. So does food actually relax you? Does it de-stress you the way you think it does? Or has it been an illusion? And I think you'll very quickly find it's been an illusion. No question about it, that the food and eating it, stress eating, is causing you more stress. And once you realize that, I think it's a wonderful day, because now you can start to seek out better ways to deal with your stress. And once you start relying on genuine, real strategies to manage your stress and relax, oh, it's night and day. It's a whole different story. And what happens is, instead of, going and running to the ice cream, we do some things that genuinely help you reduce your stress levels, calm you down. You'll be happy to know there's a ton of things to do that calm you down, by the way. You have to understand, we have all at this point been raised in this mass media world where we have just been conditioned since birth to think and feel certain things about things. And one of those things is food. And we've been taught our entire lives that food makes everything better, right? When you're feeling bad, it's food. And again, it does for that little moment, but it's very much like an illusion. It's a trick. So yes, it feels better for a moment, and then it feels worse. Tell me that's not your situation. Tell me when you're stressed and you stress eat that you don't feel more stressed afterwards. That's what we have to recognize. And so there are so many good, solid, genuine ways to reduce stress and make yourself feel better genuinely, that once you start thinking about it this way and you start focusing on those, you fundamentally transform yourself from the inside out into a different version of yourself. And the big difference is that you're dealing with the core problem, right? Because again, a lot of times the stress eating is just the symptom of a deeper problem. The deeper problem is that you're stressed and you don't know how to manage it. And so you use the stress eating to feel a little bit better, at least in the moment, and that just creates more and more and more stress. So once you start relying on genuine, real strategies to reduce your stress levels, what happens is you start to genuinely transform yourself, because what you're doing is you're going to the core of the problem and you're reducing your stress. And as soon as you do that, everything changes. You think differently, you perceive things differently, you feel different, and you behave different. When you're more grounded and calm, when you're more centered, when you're more relaxed, you tend to think differently and make different food choices naturally out of that space. And so it becomes a really efficient and effective way to influence your eating and your weight in a way that's very comfortable and sustainable. And that's my message for you today, is to really pay attention. If you are a stress eater, if stress eating is an issue for you, is start looking at it this way. Instead of just trying to stop stress eating, instead make it about finding better ways to relax yourself and deal with stress. And as you start to uncover those strategies that genuinely help you relax, you're going to find that it fundamentally starts to change you. All right. So if you want to go deeper into that way of thinking and that approach, click the link in my bio, go get the free hypnosis session I give you, and it'll help you do that. It'll help you relax genuinely, by the way. And on top of that, you'll get good, positive hypnosis suggestions put into your mind as well. And both of those things are going to help you with your weight. All right. So go check that session out. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Any questions you have are welcomed, because that's what I'm here for, is to help anyone out in terms of their weight, hopefully be able to bring you a little bit of a different perspective and hopefully some different solutions and strategies. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, is that does that say AI? Stress eating discussion, comment your coping strategies. That's kind of cool. That's good. That's a good question. Yeah. So if anyone has good coping strategies, feel free to share them. I will share mine. My coping strategies. I don't like the word coping. I don't know. I don't like that word, but I think it's disempowering a little bit. Whatever, it's fine. But for me personally, my whole lifestyle is weaved together with relaxing activities, de-stressing activities. So it's a fundamental part of who I am that was not always there. I have engineered and installed those into my life. And what some of those things are: meditation, stretching, strategic showers, hot showers. I think I just said meditating, walking, playing basketball, playing guitar, reading, hang out with my kid, doing a lot of different stuff. So again, it doesn't matter what mine are, you know what I mean? Because everyone's different. But if you take some time and think for you, what are things that relax you, that calm you down, that make you feel better? As you come up with a list, it doesn't have to be a crazy list of things, but as you come up with some of these things and remind yourself how much better you feel when you do those, I think that's a great strategy, moving forward. What's up, Judy? Judy says tapping. Yes, tapping can be very helpful for some people to help them de-stress. And again, it's an alternative. And it's, listen, it doesn't mean we're never going to stress eat again either, by the way. You know what I mean? You can stress eat and still lose weight if you're stress eating less. Do you understand? So it doesn't have to be this 100% fixing of things as much as it is an improvement of things. And so as you start to identify strategies to relax and calm down with, you start using them more. And if you go and tap, or go for a walk twice during the week, during situations you would have otherwise eaten, that's going to help you lose weight. Again, you do not need to be perfect to lose weight, but I think that's a great strategy as well. What's up, Veronica? Veronica's first time to join. I'm remote today. All right. Very nice. Yeah. It's nice we get to work remote sometimes, a little more control over the schedule. So I'm glad you're here, Veronica. Life with Pri says, for me, it's the food noise. I can't stop thinking about food ever, and I can't seem to enjoy anything else except eating. Yeah, I mean, there you go, though. But right in that statement is the real issue. And the real issue is not the eating. The bigger issue is I can't seem to enjoy anything. And again, I'm not saying I have an answer for that. But what I'm saying is the main problem here, the core problem, is not the eating. The core problem is that you have nothing right now in your life that you really enjoy doing. That's the bigger issue. And so, if you try and stop yourself from eating, you're just going to be a thin, miserable person at this point. You need to figure out something that you enjoy doing, or don't, and just really embrace the eating and stop caring about your weight so much. You know what I mean? Because you want to be happy and feel better, emotionally. And that's the only way you can do it. If that was the truth, which rarely it is, but if it is, that's okay too. Veronica says, thank you. Appreciate your daily podcast. Well, thanks for listening, Veronica. Yes, it's fun doing these. I love getting out here and talking to you all. And hopefully, if I can help in any way, I'm happy to do that. This is a mission for me. Live for this stuff. I really am obsessed with weight mastery and living at your goal weight. And again, it's not because I care what you look like so much as I care how long you're going to live, your quality of life while you're here. And I think that what you eat consistently over your life is probably the number one factor that's going to dictate how long you live and what your quality of life is while you're here. I believe that, what's up, Jen? Jen says, hi, Jim. Happy fall, back on track. Happy fall. Oh, yes. Back on track here after being less than 1 pound over goal for one day. LOL. It scared me more than it should have. Lesson learned. That's all right, Jen. Listen, that's exactly part of the process, though. I went through the exact same thing. It's completely normal. Again, we're all so triggerable by our weight. usually, and I think that we need to deal with that. Someone wrote that. What they say? I can't remember now, but it was a video I made about weighing yourself every day. And they said something about, if you can get on that ride, good luck to you or something, if you can handle that ride. And I was like, handling that ride is part of the purpose of doing it, and so again, dieters and humans in general, but dieters especially, always think that knowing what to do is enough to do it. And that's all they need, just the knowledge. And I'm just going to do it. It's just not true. You don't have enough knowledge anyways, because you know what to do necessarily, kind of, but you don't really know how to get yourself to do it. So you don't have that knowledge. But the bigger piece is that this is a journey of discovery. Managing your weight, getting to your goal weight and living there, to me, it's a journey of discovery forever. So I lost over 50 pounds 30 years ago. And I feel today I'm as committed and motivated to this journey I think more so even. I'm even more committed now than I was 30 years ago when I was losing weight. And that's really saying something, because being able to stay motivated when it comes to your weight and health and eating when you're not losing weight anymore is the big challenge. And I think that's how I define why most dieters put the weight back on, is that I think they run out of motivation, because I think most dieters, they trade the excitement and the pleasure of the food for the excitement and pleasure of the scale going down. And so as long as the scale's going down, they look forward to that, they're okay. But as soon as they get to that goal weight, what are they looking forward to now? You really got to think about this, folks. I know your brain says, well, we'll just be so happy, we'll just stay there. Well, 95% of dieters that lose weight put it back on. So, that's not what reality says. So I think, you really have to think right from the beginning. That's why in Program Yourself Thin, we follow the goal weight pyramid and we start with mindset. But the very first thing is motivation. I find most dieters are not even close to motivated enough to get the results they want. And I think very few people know how to stay motivated when there's no more weight loss to look forward to. And I think that's one of the secrets to my success, is I am literally more motivated now at my goal weight than I was when I was losing weight. And it all comes down to mindset and how you think about this and the meaning you give it. It's a process you go through to figure out what your motivation is. But most people have never done that. Most dieters have never gone through a process to figure out what the real motivation is. You think because you think about weight loss day in and day out, you think that's motivation, but you have to understand, thinking about your weight all day is not real motivation. If you're not actually doing anything to lose weight, you're not motivated, plain and simple. Motivation is a real simple thing to define and identify or recognize it's missing. And so you can't sit here and tell me you're really motivated to lose weight when you're not actually doing anything to lose weight. And thinking about losing weight is not doing anything to lose weight, So again, I find for most dieters, the number one issue to start with is motivation. You're not really motivated. And to take it one step further, I think it's pretty accurate to say you weigh what you want to weigh. I think most people weigh what they want to weigh. I know you want to lose weight, but I'm talking about subconsciously deep down what you want to weigh. I think you're comfortable being overweight. I think most dieters are comfortable being overweight. And that's one of the big reasons why they never really create the changes that they want, What's up, Judy? Judy says, what are your thoughts on the supplement berberine? Are you an advocate for any supplements? No, I am not an advocate for supplements. I find the supplement market is mostly bullshit. I mean, there's got to be a couple that are okay, I would have to imagine. I mean, there's always outliers in life, Berberine, a bioactive compound found in several plants that's been used for centuries in traditional medicine. Blood sugar and cholesterol management. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not an expert in berberine. So, you know what I mean? Someone could say, oh, you don't know anything. And that's fair. I don't know anything about berberine, but I do have a generalized skepticism of supplements. I think that let's just talk. I can talk about weight loss. I do know a lot about weight loss. So I have never seen in my travels any supplement associated with weight loss that's healthy that you can take for a while that works. And I think more often than not, no judgment, but I do think that we can waste a lot of time seeking out magical hacks and, supplements and shortcuts to try and get the results we want. And I just find that there's no shortcutting your way here. I play guitar. There's no shortcuts to guitar. You know what I mean? You either do the practicing or you don't. And if you don't practice, you don't get better. And if you do practice, you get better. It's pretty simple. you know? And I find weight's the same thing. I don't want any shortcuts. There's no supplement. There's no teas from Nepal. There's no berries from the Amazon. There's no leaves from, the Himalayas that make you thin and healthy. It's just, there's no one thing that's going to make you thin and healthy. And I think what a lot of the supplement business is built on is really just people's impatience and desire for a quick fix. And so I don't put any time or effort into supplements. At some point, if I found some supplement that really helped me, I'm not completely closed-minded, I suppose, but I'm pretty closed-minded to it. And what I do is I tend to look to get my supplements from the food I eat. Now I've heard that I am in this world, so I know, yeah, I know the vegetables and greens and stuff I eat now is from depleted soil, and I'm not gonna, I know. Um, mm, you know, I've seen people thrive on shitty diets. So I'm going to take my chances with the whole natural foods I eat, and I'm going to attempt to get my nutrients from that. Because I don't think supplements is not the path I'm going to go down. So, anyways, and I'm not saying, you know what I mean? Again, there might be people that swear by them and live by them, and God bless them. You know what I mean? I'm not an expert on supplements. That's just my general bias on them, I would say. And it's certainly a bias, no doubt, but it's a bias informed by 30 years of experience. I've been obsessed with this for 30 years, and I've never seen a supplement that really blows me away, or whatever. And it's because I don't believe that weight loss I don't think there's one thing you're going to change to lose weight. That's just another reason I don't believe in diets. I think you need a comprehensive, holistic strategy. Again, in Program Yourself, then we get the goal weight pyramid, mindset, lifestyle, and eating. And there's subcategories in each of those. So it's a comprehensive approach to mastering your weight. And I know for me personally, I can't imagine anything else working. So, excuse me. What's going on there? You can manage AI summaries and settings. Vicky says, hi, Jim and Veronica. Shelly Yip says, your live and posts have made a difference to my mindset about food and eating. Big thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. A little screenshot of that. Yeah, it's that's my goal. Again, my mission is to help as many people as possible live at their goal weight, and this is one of the ways that I do that. Just get out here every day and just talk to regular people trying to put the work in, do what they're supposed to do or think they're supposed to do to get better results. Again, it breaks my heart when I see good, smart, hardworking people taking action and not getting the results that they deserve. And I think a lot of the reason for that is that your whole life, you've just been given the shitty strategy of dieting. And it's just not up to the task. It's not the appropriate strategy for the results you want to achieve. So I appreciate you listening. I'm glad it's helping out. That's what I'm here for. He says, wait, is that right? Yeah. Whoop, shit. Hold on. It's hard. TikTok's hard to get the comments. They get lost real quick. What's up, Kate? Kate says, that is literally so true. I'm at my goal now and I'm struggling with what's next. Yeah, I get it, Kate. So I'm really glad you're here because I tell you, I say this every day. It's the people that have lost weight that I'm most here for because you have done the work. You know what I mean? So I'm so proud of you for doing it. I know it's hard, right? And so you've made all these changes, you've done all this work. And so I'm so proud of you. But then I know what's on the other side of it for most people. Again, it's estimated 95% of people put the weight back on. And this is the number one person I'm here for to help out because you've done all this work and effort and I don't want you to blow it, and not only that, but it's so destructive when you lose all the weight and then put it back on. It is so, so destructive. It hurts, it's so demoralizing and it sucks. So, you're one of the main people I'm here for. The first thing I would suggest is please go get the hypnosis session I give you. You can click the link, little picture of me on the top left. Click that. There's a link in my bio. Go get that hypnosis session, get in my world. Because everything I talk about in Program Yourself Thin, the big difference between dieting and Program Yourself Thin is dieting is all about getting to your goal weight. Program Yourself Thin is about living at your goal weight. And it highlights the exact point that you just made, that you're at your goal weight and you're like, what next? And you've never learned this. This is the key point. This is the core of everything I'm talking about. Dieting is about losing weight. It's about getting to your goal weight. And then I can't tell you the number of dieters I have asked who are successfully losing weight. And I say, what are you going to do once you get to your goal weight? And I'll figure it out then. And then we go back to the 95% people don't figure it out then. And so what you start to realize is there's a huge blind spot. There's a huge vacuum of knowledge when it comes to weight. And that vacuum of knowledge is, how do I live at my goal weight? And that's when you all instantly find that you have no reference point for it. And I mean no reference point for it. Let me I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. If I sit here and ask you to think of the Chinese word for chair, what's the Chinese word for chair? Notice how your brain is completely blank, right? You've never heard that word. There's not even like, oh, well, right. What's that? There's not even that. It's just complete and total blank. Okay. So I want you to notice that feeling. Now I want you to think about, what are you going to do once you lose the weight? How are you going to stay there? And it's like, notice it's very similar, right? There's nothing there. There's no concept or idea there. And this is one of the biggest tricks of the diets. The diets don't want you to lose weight. Folks, please understand the diet industry is a branch of the food processing industry. Yes, it is. Weight Watchers was owned by Heinz. Jenny Craig was owned by Nestle. Atkins Food Products owned by the same company owns Auntie Anne's Pretzels and Cinnabon. Slim Fast owned by the same company owns Ben & Jerry's ice cream. These companies do not want you to lose weight and keep it off long term. That's against their business model. And so what you start to realize when you think about your weight loss history, this is all of you. I don't like to make blanket statements, but here I will make a blanket statement that this applies to literally all of you, unless you are literally at your goal weight, living there and been there for a while, is that you have no idea. You never think about how to live at your goal weight. You never think that. You think about how I'm an overweight person and I want to lose weight. And then you get to your goal weight and you don't know what to do. You've never prepared yourself for it. You have no idea. This is why I'm programming yourself in. Again, when we get to mindset, right from the beginning, we're focusing on maintenance. On day one, we're focusing on maintenance. How do you live at your goal weight? For me, I don't want you to be like, oh, we lost 50 pounds. Who gives a shit? I mean, again, that's a decent amount of weight. Fine. The bigger thing I want you to reflect on is I've kept it off for over 30 years. I've not dieted once and I don't exercise consistently. How'd I do it? I transform my mindset. I transform my lifestyle and I transform my eating in a way that works for me, and I did all these things. And now I'm not going to say, I think about like kind of the garden metaphor, I think is pretty appropriate here, that if you're going to create a garden, the initial work is a lot, right? You got to get the soil ready, you got to plant seed, you got to do all that stuff. But as the process moves forward, it becomes a lot more maintenance, right? You kind of like, pulling the weeds out and things are kind of happening on their own. I would say that's what it feels like for me. I don't just not think about any of this stuff. It's very much a central part of my life, my mindset, lifestyle, and eating. But I've installed a lot of behaviors, thought patterns, lifestyle habits, and eating strategies I've installed into myself that run on pretty much autopilot. So now I can trust myself to think, live, and eat like a thin, healthy person. Now I still monitor that. I'm still, you know what I mean? Like if you have a garden, I'm still weeding out certain things. I'm still paying attention, but a lot of the heavy work has been done now. And now I'm in the coast mode, but that's because I've set myself up to live at my goal weight, not just to get there. And so again, crucial question, Kate, and very few people talk about it. If you opt in to get that hypnosis session I give you for free, it takes you a couple minutes to send it to you. And so I give you a training that I made for you as well. And that's free as well. And it's all about how to live at your goal weight, the 3 steps. And I think you'll probably learn things there that you have not thought about or, been taught. And I think you may find that they're very helpful in answering that question for you, because everything I'm talking about is built on and focused on how to live at your goal weight. Program Yourself Thin is unique simply because it literally originated with that. That was the big distinction for me over 30 years ago when I was 50 pounds heavier. I wanted to lose the weight, but I realized, again, and it's only because I learned about neurolinguistic programming, that when you want to achieve a goal, find the people who've gotten the goal that you want to achieve. And that very quickly made me realize the distinction that I don't want to talk to people that have lost a lot of weight. I want to talk to people that have lost weight and kept it off for at least a couple of years. That distinction is literally why I'm here right now talking to you. That distinction was the most important distinction in the beginning of my journey. And so I began looking for people that lost weight and kept it off. I will let you know, a lot of those people are at the Y. And that's why I met a lot of them initially. And I would begin speaking to them, and almost instantly, I could realize that they thought about this whole thing way different. They had internalized it. They had transformed how they thought about themselves, about their lifestyle, about their eating, about food. about their motivation and why they were doing this. All the things I basically teach you in the program are all the things that I've learned over years and years from talking with people that have successfully lost weight and kept it off. So everything I'm teaching you and talking about is modeled from people that have successfully achieved the results that you want. And you don't get that a lot with dieting, because most dieting is really just telling you about how to lose weight quickly, but it's not about how to keep it off. So you have to recognize they're two totally different things. I could talk about that for hours. I'm not going to, but again, go check that training out, because you've done way too much work and effort to just put the weight back on, and you can feel it already, right? You feel your motivation's not there, the excitement's not there. You don't have stretch. Again, the strategies for losing weight and the strategies for living at your goal weight are completely different. So, you don't have access to any of those most likely. And so I give you a bunch of them. You know what I mean? That's everything I talk about. So go check that out. Vicky says, what do you think of red yeast for cholesterol lowering and management? I don't believe any of that shit. And I've tried it out. I have genetic high cholesterol. Okay. And so I spent 10 years obsessively trying to get my cholesterol down naturally. I mean, one year I stopped eating eggs completely and anything with cholesterol in it. One year I worked out like crazy. One year I did, what was the shit they gave? Oh, I tried some powder. I'm totally blanking. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I bet I could find it. Let's see. It's some powder for reducing cholesterol. If I see it, I'll know it. No, it's not psyllium. Nah, I can't find it. It was gross. It was super bitter. I remember being super bitter. I don't know. It's got like it's two words repeated. Maybe this is it. Let me see real quick. I'm kind of curious. Anyways, spoiler alert, didn't work. Didn't work. So anyways, so you know what I mean? Like, hey, maybe that's just me. Maybe for someone else, it might work amazing. I can't remember. It was some African root, you know what I mean? It was some totally weird thing, whatever. So anyways, I took that for like a year. That didn't work. So I tried different stuff for a year. I couldn't get it. So I'm on a statin, you know what I mean? Whatever. I made that decision. But so anyways, again, I'm absolutely biased against supplements. So I want to just acknowledge that. And then, if you like supplements, just ignore what I'm saying. You know what I mean? I don't want you to not like what I'm saying just because I don't do supplements. You know what I mean? It's just a bias I have. And there's plenty of people in the program that do tons of supplements. So I always want to make that clear that I think this is important, that I don't know everything. I mean, no shit, right? I know we all know that, but I just want to make it clear, because I think a lot of times with coaches and authors and influencers, they're really just kind of like, I don't know whether they believe it or not. They're always kind of putting this idea out that they know everything and they're infallible. I am not. I'm always learning, always growing, and very biased. I am biased. I think everyone's biased personally, but I'm certainly biased. And so I'm not going to try to not be biased. I got my biases, but I will like to be at least open and honest about them, And so supplements, I just personally don't really believe a lot in them. And you may, and then that's fine. Jen says supplements are mostly gimmicks and not regulated by the FDA. Check with your doctor. Yeah, I agree with that 1,000%. I just think that that's a truth. You know what I mean? That's a truth that's gone into my bias of supplements, is that they're not regulated. They're not, you can say kind of whatever you want, with a lot of these supplements. And I just think that a lot of them are, I think they're geared to prey on your impatience, I like that. Hey, says for long-term change, follow Jim. Yes, I appreciate you saying that. And that's true. There's not too many of me in the world. You know what I mean? I think I really do have, I do think I without question have a very unique approach to managing your weight. And I don't hear it ever, I created this, I'm not, listen, obviously I say things that you've heard other places. I'm not saying I created all this stuff. What I'm saying is I put all this stuff together for my own little system here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you're going to find another goal weight pyramid. I've never heard anyone use that language. I've never heard anyone break their weight loss down into mindset, lifestyle, and eating, and then the subcategories. I've never seen that. So I didn't just like learn this and now I'm teaching it to you. I created this from 30 years of obsessively focusing on this. I've done over 6,000 private weight loss sessions. I read, 50 books a year. I'm obsessed with this stuff. I've watched thousands of hours of trainings. I mean, it's just, again, this is just what I do. And I do it because there was not a solution. I would have been thrilled 30 years ago to just take this program, get certified and teach it. That would have been a much more quicker path. But this doesn't exist. I never seen anyone talk about all these things as a holistic unit. And this is only half the program. The other half of the program is how to run your mind. The Program Yourself Then method, where we use a simple technique to program our minds at night. So I'm a hypnotist too. So there's that whole component. And yeah, I felt in my life I had to create this. My father died of a heart attack. And so I'm obsessed with this, you know what I mean? Because it's life or death to me. And it's what's kept me on this path when it was difficult. But yeah, I had to create a lot of this myself. So anyways. What's up, Lindsay? Lindsay says, hi, Jim. I've been meaning to email you. We'll do that this week. I was wondering if you could talk about depression and weight loss. Food is sometimes the only exciting thing. What are your thoughts? On depression, I know this is not weight loss related, but I think it all fits together. I think it's definitely weight loss related. I think depression is absolutely a huge factor in weight for most people, for a lot of people. And I think emotional eating is a factor for every person who's struggling with their weight, in my opinion. And so whether it's depression or stress or whatever emotion specific it may be, I think the process and the structure of emotional eating is always kind of similar. So I think you hit the nail on the head, Lindsay, and I was just talking about this. I started this whole lesson off with stress eating, but you could just substitute depressed eating, in there as well. But you hit the nail on the head when you said food is sometimes the only exciting thing. And I think that's a legitimate statement to make. And to me, that's the bigger issue than the eating when you're depressed. So I wouldn't be putting my energy into not eating when I was depressed. I'd be putting all of that energy into finding things I'm excited to do. And especially things that, now again, you're not going to be excited to do things when you're depressed. That's not how it works. So I wouldn't be looking for things I'm excited to do when I'm depressed. I would be looking for things that are tolerable or palatable or I'm able to get myself to do when I'm depressed that make me feel a little bit better. And I would start to create a list of things I could do when I'm depressed that make me feel a little bit better. That's where I would start. And my goal would be not to stop depressed eating. It would be to start feeling better. And part of me would also go into being with depression more effectively. So again, I would look for things that kind of help me avoid depression. I would look for things to help me kind of pull me out of depression when I was feeling it. And then I would work on being able to be present and experience depression in a way that was better. And I would focus a lot of my energy on those three things. And by doing that, I think if you did that for a month, what would happen is you come out the other side and you have better strategies of how to avoid depression. You'd have better strategies for how to pull yourself out of depression when you start to feel it. And you would have a greater ability to exist with depression in a way where it didn't pull you down so deeply and you recovered quicker. And so those three things put together are a big statistical improvement on your eating and on your mood. And then I would see where I was at with that, from there. So I hope that helps, so it's not about like some specific trick I'm going to give you. It's really about, really a lot of it kind of comes down to this here. Again, back to the pyramid there's the mindset piece of how we're thinking about it, how we're approaching it, what our goal is, what our expectations are. The lifestyle piece is the most important way for avoiding depression, right? Is the lifestyle piece. And then also mindset strategies for how to pull ourselves out, lifestyle strategies to pull ourselves out. And then dealing with food alternatives as well, improvements. When I am depressed, what are some foods I want to eat? How can I make those a little bit healthier? You know what I mean? So again, instead of trying to come up with like the magical answer that fixes it all, I'm kind of coming at it and looking how I can improve a bunch of different factors that impact it. So I hope that makes sense. And yeah, shoot me that email. And he says, love your integrity, Jim, makes you safe. Well, thank you. Yeah, I hope that makes me happy. Because that's what I'm here for. I want to be a safe space for you all because I mean, that I know. Again, I've done over 6,000 private weight loss sessions at this point. And that is one of the biggest things I get is that people feel very comfortable being able to be honest with me because there's so much shame around weight and dieting and just this whole area. It's crazy because shame is really one of the, boy, it just blocks us so hard. You know what I mean? Like when you start feeling shame, you can imagine it like a roadblock. You know what I mean? It's bap. And it just stops you dead in your tracks. The shame does. Because once you feel shame about your behavior or yourself or what you did or your weight or how you look or who you are, as soon as you feel that shame, it just shuts your brain down. And so it's really important to learn how to manage that. And I think one of the first ways to manage that, and what I'm very thankful I get to do in my life, is I get to have conversations with people with no judgment. There's no judgment coming from me. I've seen it all with this. And I understand that, shitty eating and weight issues and all this stuff happens separate from who you are as a person. Meaning, just because you're struggling with your weight or your eating or depression or whatever, it doesn't make you a bad person. I hope that makes sense, but I think a lot of people blame themselves. So like they feel depressed. Now they're blaming themselves. They ate, stressed eating. Now they're blaming themselves. Blame and shame, get the fuck out. I've got almost zero use for blame and shame. And so instead, I want to understand things. And I have found without question that understanding things is really the royal road to improvement, for a lot of reasons. So I appreciate you saying that. Hey says, how can I get a copy of that? This book here, and I'm not trying to like tease you all. I show this book. This is, if you get in the program, you can order one of these. So it's only for people in the program. And if you get in the program, you get one of there's a PDF digital version you get for free. If you want to get the physical version, you can order that. But so it's only for clients in the program. But I do have a good book. I got my book coming out pretty soon. I'm picking the cover right now. Picking the cover is so exciting. It's really fun. So I'm working on developing the cover. It's really cool. It's very surreal, I would say, to do the book cover thing. It's really cool. Cause this was fun too. Don't get me wrong. This was really exciting. And I love this book. Right. But, this other book is one for everyone. So you'll be able to buy it on Amazon and all that. So, it's really exciting, but it's really cool watching it come into being, and seeing the picture of the book is really one of the biggest things. It's so exciting. So I will have information on that. Hopefully in another week or two, I'll have that book ready to go. We're in the closing phases here, and it's really exciting. So can't wait for you to see all that. Yeah, because it says in addition to eating less. Yeah, again, the supplements, can they push you over and help you? Maybe, so again, I don't want to dismiss them out of hand. I just personally am pretty skeptical of supplements and don't take any, Like I said, I think the only supplement I can remember trying lately was that cholesterol lowering one. I wish I could remember the name of it. I can't remember. I probably still have it in my house. I don't know. But it didn't work. Which doesn't mean that nothing works, you know what I mean? Yeah, Vicky says it can be challenging to overcome genetics, especially as you get older. Yeah. And that's why I say I'm not against medicine. Again, I prefer a natural path. You know what I mean? I spent 10 years trying to get my cholesterol down. And so, I'm really, I don't know, like I don't know. I think sometimes the natural stuff, I believe in science and medicine. I love it all. Okay. But at the same time, I'm skeptical of that too. You know what I mean? Like I'm not just sitting there. So I don't want to take medicine things if I don't have to, but I did everything I could. My cholesterol stayed high. My dad died at 54 of a heart attack. I don't want to have high cholesterol. I think I'll live longer with lower cholesterol. I chose to take a statin. Don't want to take a statin. You know what I mean? I would have been happy just never eat an egg again. And I love eggs, but I would have done whatever I could to keep the cholesterol down. What are you going to do? So I like to think it's a grown up, mature decision. We'll see. Anyways, any other questions, feel free to ask them. I'm going to get out of here in a second. This was a late one today. Yeah. Bookworm. Yeah. The book's coming. The book is coming. I can't wait. Can't wait. The book's awesome too, but the cover is fun. Cause I've been working on the book now. It's been probably 2 months. It's kind of a short book. I love this book. It's so good. Can I say the name now? I guess I can, cause I even got the number for it, but it's called the Tao of Living at Your Goal Weight. So this is in a weird way, it's a prequel to the main book that's going to be coming. And, the idea is that, it's really like, it's inspired by the Tao Te Ching. I don't know if y'all know that the Tao Te Ching is kind of I would say it's kind of a poetic formatted book, right? Of Taoist wisdom. And so that was a big book for me for years. I would read that book constantly, and it was a source of inspiration. I loved reading it. So this book is kind of inspired by that, and it has a lot of hypnotic stories. So it basically takes you through the whole program yourself then system in a very kind of light and accessible way. And it's meant, again, you come into it no knowledge of program yourself then, and you read through it, and it's just really easy. It's kind of easy reading that sticks with you. And so it's meant to be read multiple times um, of that. So anyways, yeah, that is, that's that plan. So I can't wait. And anyways, yeah, it'll be coming. And it's a DAO, TAO, TAO. Positive Vibe says, I watch your YouTube videos. They're so helpful. Can't wait for the book. Yeah, I can't wait either. I think you'll love this book. I love this book. I've read this book 6,000 times at this point. And it I love it. I really do. I think about it all the time. And it's funny because I'm so excited to have it out there because it's actually going to help me teach the program as well, too. Because what a lot of people do is they will go through this book and they will read it regularly. That's what it's built for. And you will get these ideas in your head. And again, it's the difference, hypnosis. Like I could sit here, I'll give you a really clear example. It's kind of like, to me, the difference learning wise, there's learning like information. So I could sit here and tell you about a roller coaster, right? I could explain to you in vivid detail all of the ups and downs and the experience of it, right? But that experience versus actually sitting on the roller coaster and doing it yourself, they're two total quality differences, right? And so a lot of times things are just information. My second book is going to be a lot of information, okay? But this book here is really designed to be an experience so that you get to, as you're reading it, you're experiencing what's being talked about in a more visceral way than just kind of reading information. And so I think reading it is gonna, if you're in the program, it's just gonna reinforce a lot of what we're doing in a kind of a profound way. And if you're not in the program, never heard any of this, I think you're gonna be very moved because it lays out the entire system in a completely different approach to managing your weight. And I think it speaks to a lot of the things you're dealing with that you've never really articulated or recognized. So I cannot wait. And like I said, I actually did. If you're in the program, I put a chapter out in the Circle app. It's the Halloween one. So if you go back and look at the last couple posts, go check out the chapter of it and go read. I love that chapter, so again, I don't know. I could be crazy. This could be the shittiest book ever written too, but I think it's great. And I do think that if you're in the program, you're going to like it. I do think people like, I think it's good. You know what I mean? But again, you never know until it gets out in the world. Hey, thanks. I'll join the program. Yeah, great. Yeah, join the program, folks. Again, this is the week. This is the last time I'm keeping the price down for you all this week here, so that you can get that for a discount. And then it is going up for good. And I told you the only reason, I know I've said this before, the only thing that stopped me from putting the price up is I've got to create a new video that talks about the new price, and I just haven't had time to do that. So while that goes on, I just give you another shot to get it at a discount. So go check that out if you're interested. Vicky says, will there be an audio version really simultaneously? I don't know. I gotta look into that. And so I'll see. Oh, look at that, Kiki. Thank you. I appreciate Kiki. Yeah, Kiki says that chapter was great. Really enjoy the style of writing. Yes, I couldn't agree more. I love the style of writing. It's very hypnotic. I made it very hypnotic on purpose. It's hypnotic stories. So that's what I was kind of getting at. Like the power of hypnosis, that it engages your imagination. So there's reading things kind of dry, like just information, and there's reading stories, right? And stories are hardwired to go into your brain more effectively, and information is kind of dry and doesn't have the context that makes it stick. So these stories are very intentionally written to be hypnotic stories to stick into your brain, stick in your mind, these ideas. And so I think it's going to be such a nice companion to the program, So anyways, yeah, can't wait. And the audio version is going to happen. I guess I'm just hesitating a little bit because I got to think about how I'm going to record it and just that process. And so it is going to happen. The question is just how quickly. And I know that I'm excited about that too, because again, I wrote this book I am a hypnotist. I'm a hypnotist first, and not an author. So these chapters were written as a hypnotist. And so they have that kind of cadence to them. They have that kind of flow to it. And so as I've been reading them, I very intentionally am thinking, I imagine myself speaking it, so I think it's cool because it is going to be an audio book, but another way to think about it, in essence, not exactly, but it's kind of like this audio book is also kind of collection of hypnosis sessions. You know what I mean? Now it's conversational hypnosis. So there's not traditional, like, counting you in, bringing you into hypnosis, counting you out. It's not that. It's not formal, but it's conversational hypnosis. And so the audio version of it is going to be really valuable because it will be me reading it. And again, I'll be reading it as a hypnotist, and not just a hypnotist, but one of the highest paid hypnotists on the planet. I've been doing this for a while. I'm going to toot my own horn here, but I've developed a little bit of skill, you know what I mean, with how to hypnotize people and how to convey ideas. So anyways, I am super excited to have the audio version of this book. So yes, it will be happening. The question is when, and it won't be long. I will tell you that will be very quick on my list, is to get it recorded. So, yeah, it's just a question of the process of doing it. And, yeah, so I will keep you up to date on that. Fred says, where do I get the book? The book's not available yet. I'm expecting in the next couple of weeks, and you'll be able to get it right from Amazon. And I will have links to get to that, because I want everyone to get this book. I just think it's amazing, because I think it's going to smack you in the face. If you're a dieter, I think you're just finally, I think you're going to, that's why I'm so excited about this, because listen, I know my people that join Program Yourself then are overachieving, perfectionist, action taking people. Okay. And, I know most people aren't going to put all the work into actually fill out this workbook and blueprint, and no judgment. Okay. So this book was very intentionally written to convey, all of this information plus a lot more, because this is only half the system. But the complete system is meant to convey the complete system in a very accessible, easy way, so I think a lot of people are going to read this and be moved by it, is my thoughts. And so once it's available, I will let you all know. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Unless there are any comments to get it. Please offer another Black Friday special. Yes, I am going to, Vicky. Yes. For my PYT Thrive people. Yes, absolutely. And so even the Thrive program, I'm excited. I got a lot of cool things. And if you're in the program, I just want you to know, I sent this out today, but I want you to know this, that I know I use a Circle app, and it's awesome in some ways, and it sucks in other ways, to be honest. And one of the ways it sucks is just out of nowhere, it just won't work right for specific things, specific phones. So one of the things that's happened the last 5 days is when you go to listen to a hypnosis session, if you have a certain iPhone, and you'll go and listen to the session, and it just kicks you out of the app. And I haven't gotten a solution from them yet. It made me crazy, but necessity is the mother of invention. So now it's all been fixed. And so now when you go in the Circle app, if you're in the program, you can go to program links, and you can click the links and go right to it. And now all of the content is being hosted in a rock solid membership area where these files will play perfectly. So for all of you, those people that had these weird little quirky, annoying audio issues, those are all gone, thing of the past. And so I'm excited to say that's all been fixed now. And that's all in there. In the Circle app, it's all been updated. So you'll be able to access everything. And then when you get your emails for your morning hypnosis sessions, when you get, links to these, all those have been updated too, I believe. So if you find one that's not working, please let me know. But as far as I know, they're all fixed and updated now and should be working. So anyways, we got that fixed, and we're better off. We're more stable than we've ever been. So again, it's been an annoying week for me. And I know for some of you, but it's all been fixed. So yeah, love to stream and listen when I'm driving, walking, and hiking. Audio reinforces what I read. Yeah, absolutely, Vicky. I agree 1,000%. And like I said, with this book here specifically, I do think the audio version is going to be, really something more than just an audio version. I do think that hypnotically it's going to be very valuable. And I think you're all going to enjoy that part too. Hey, look at that. Ash, nice job. I followed your advice and am now 2 weeks committed in my weight loss journey. Nice job. Great job, Ash. I appreciate that, because that's the fun stuff, is the commitment of it. And the more you can kind of Well, the more committed and motivated you are, the easier the whole process is, you know. And when you start getting to 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 months, 6 months, 8 months, 2 years, you know, you're always building that up. You're always developing it. And the stronger it gets, the easier it all is. All right. So nice job, Ash. Keep it up. Um, Oh, Lillian. All right. Yeah. Lillian says, haven't had a problem. It's been great. Super. Yes. And I know that's what the most frustrating part of all of it is, to be honest, is that I was saying this yesterday. The crazy thing in the world is like when you have an app, what ends up happening is you have all these different versions of the app, right? So there's different versions of the app, older versions, newer versions, whatever. Everyone's got a different phone model. On those phone models, people are running different versions of their operating systems, you know? And so what I've learned from running the app is that it gets to such an infinite level of complexity that when a problem shows up, even figuring out what the problem is sucks up tremendous amounts of time. So anyways, my dream of having everything in the app, and it doesn't matter anyways, you won't even notice it, folks. When you start clicking on these links to access the pro, you won't even realize it's going to a browser-based web. It doesn't matter, describe the details, but what happens is basically it's rock solid now. And so I know for some people, they haven't had any problems and it's been running great. But then for other people, it's been a nightmare. And so that is the stuff that keeps me up at night. And I will tell you, last 5 days, I have had that's been my main source of stress because it kills me. It kills me when my clients aren't getting what they, you know, invested in. And so, but again, the good news is that it's absolutely fixed and it's rock solid now. And I don't say that lightly because I know that, you know, once you say that something breaks, but I know for a fact this is rock solid. And so even if there are little glitches, they're just little things. You'll be able to get to your audios and listen to them. And so I'm excited for that. All right. So yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, yeah. Elenia says, I've been listening to your sleep hypnosis on repeat. Love it. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And even that, you know, I know that's what I realized. One of the big issues with the app is long audio sessions. So in the program, in the Hypnosis library, I mean, there's hour-long sessions, there's 4-hour-long sessions. So there's long ones. And what I realized is those big sessions take up a lot of space and they crash the app. So all that's going to be fixed now. And so you'll be able to listen to all the sessions and, with no problems and with no ads. Again, I'm sorry, Facebook. I know the YouTube people I think are used to it, but Facebook, you know, sometimes I'll put these longer hypnosis videos up and they pop ads all in them. There's just nothing I can do, by the way. I just want you to know that. You know, even on like YouTube, I said, I don't want any of the ads running. So I don't care. I don't need to make money from ads on my stuff. I'm more than well compensated with what I do. So I try to turn the ads off on YouTube, but they just put their own ads in anyways. And Facebook doesn't give you the option. So there it is. But I apologize for that. And it sucks. But if you get in my world, if you go click the link in my bio or go to Program Yourself, then go there and opt in. Okay. And you get a free hypnosis session and that'll play fine. Okay. And once you get in there, so this is delayed probably another week, but I got the Circle app, my community. I'm opening up a whole free section, and part of that community, the free area of Program Yourself, then it's going to link to a program. I'm putting a program together for you with a bunch of different tools for you, hypnosis sessions. I got a couple trainings for you. I've got a goal weight quiz to choose your goal weight the right way, a training that goes with that. I got a lot of cool stuff coming for it. It's all free. Okay. So you should definitely go check that all out. And I will put a couple of the long hypnosis sessions in there for you all as well. So you don't have to worry about the ads. So that's going to be in there too. Lillian says, I've been stacking the night hypnosis. So I'm on week 2. So I listen to week 1 and then week 2. I hope to stack them as I go. I find them incredible. That's super great, Lillian. That's a great strategy. I think that's brilliant. And also there is a session I made that has all 8 of the mantras in it. So once you finish up with 8 week, if you want to wait to listen to them all that way, you'll also have access to the session I made that has all 8 mantras in it. So I kind of cycle through them, and that's a fun one to listen to too, just to kind of keep them reinforced and in there. It says you're already doing enough for us, so appreciate you. Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Yes. And I do. I do everything I can. I'm obsessed with this stuff, and I'm so excited because as I kind of wrap up this book, and I'm so glad actually we had the technical issue. I apologize for the last 5 days, but it has led us to a much more stable setup. And that is going to it's such a load off my mind. I was kind of hesitating to do it. I'm glad I did it because now I know we're rock solid. And so now I feel way more comfortable moving forward And I got a bunch of stuff coming, that to help you all out. So yeah, I'm excited for it. All right, everyone, I gotta get out of here. If you're not in my world again, click that link, go get the hypnosis session I give you. Go to Program Yourself Thin and get it. Click the link in my bio, wherever you do it. I'll put it on Facebook here as well. Let me just write this real quick. I forgot to put this today, but if you're on Facebook, you'll be able to just click this link and it'll bring you right to the page to get it. Boop. There it is. So you can go get that. And if you like this, I'm here every Monday through Friday, usually around noon Eastern, answering your questions. Any questions I'm happy to answer. Any help you may need, let me take a shot at it. And if you like listening to this and you can't make the lives, please, you can look at any podcast platform, search Program Yourself Thin, and this will pop up. All right. All right, everyone, have a super duper day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.